Hello, this is Eve with Sewing in Color, and in this video I'm going to give you a complete step-by-step instructions on how to make this woman's tie. It's a fancy tie, and I'm gonna leave the link in the description because you sell these ties in my Etsy shop, Sewing in Color store. These ties can be made in a variety of ways. In this video, I'll show you how to make this short version here. And there are longer ones. There are ties with different colors, different textures, and I'll be doing those later on. So without further ado, let's get started. So you take this simple tape measure and you put it around your neck like this. Make sure that it doesn't twist. You keep it flat like this, and you want to simulate tying a tie. Reason being that you'd like to get an accurate length that you desire. For example, maybe you want a shorter tie, so you want to begin here, okay, always keeping it flat around the neck, and you do like this. You tie, you go like this, and you put this here, keeping everything flat. So if your desired length is 87 centimeters, okay, 87 centimeters, at that point when you go to do the pattern, the length would be this 87 centimeters, okay, up to there. So then you'll check in the mirror and try to understand, okay, does this look good? You know, is this the length that I'd like, or would I like it a little longer? So that's up to you, because basically what I'm showing you here is the length, just the length, okay, not the shape or anything, but the length as to how to obtain it. So this is the process. So you take a piece of paper, and what you need to do is to measure the length. We want it 87 centimeters, okay, the length of the tie. On the pattern paper, you measure a length of 43.5 centimeters, the length, and this is half of 87 centimeters, because we're going to cut on the fold. So this I've already measured from here to here. It's 43.5 centimeters. So I'm just going to square it off a bit. Okay. So then you would like to calculate the width of this tie as to how wide you want it. You can try folding the paper this way to try to understand, maybe a width like that, would it be fine? Or maybe a little thinner. Okay. So We can try to fold it, try to understand. Shapes can differ. For example, you may want this tie to be a little narrower in the middle. So there, it depends on what, the shape, what you want to do. So I've decided I'm going to go with maybe this width. Let's say like this. I think it'll be okay. So now I'm going to measure to see exactly the width. Maybe a little bit narrower. Let's see, like this. So I'm going to measure, see what's what. So folding it like this, at the edge of the fold, it's about 5 centimeters. So then the resulting width would be 10. So from here, the edge of the paper here to here, you go and you mark 10 centimeters. You mark 10 here and you go all the way along because you want the width to be 10 centimeters. I can continue. Okay, like this. 10. And you continue all the way along. 10, because this is going to be the width. So this is the 43.5 by 10 centimeters. So what you do, you take this and you fold it in half like this. But before you fold it in half, remember that here, this side here, you're going to have to cut on the folded edge of the material. So we can just simply write cut on fold. This end here is the end we're going to shape. We're going to do a simple shape. So you fold it in half like this. Okay, so I'm gonna just cut in this direction here. So with the ruler and the pencil, I'm just gonna draw this line like that and shape it like this by cutting the edge. Okay, so the end of the tie is going to be like this, and then we cut on the fold. Remember, you open the pattern like this and you place it on the material to cut. So I decided to use this cotton satin material. I'm going to fold it in half like this. And the pattern, what you do, the part that's written cut on fold, you place this to on the folded edge. Here. And what you do is you cut now along the shape of the pattern. So you cut along the shape of the pattern. So it was cut out. Remove the pattern. And this is the way it should be at both ends, because we wanted a small tie. So everything's pinned in place. So what you do is this: you sew along this edge here, okay? About I would say like 8 millimeters, like, yeah, 8 millimeters. You sew it all the way along here, also 8 millimeters seam allowance. Leave this opened. Do not sew along this edge here because we have to turn it inside out. Some threads. You can go ahead and snip these parts here. Okay, the seam allowance. Okay, I'll just reduce it just by a little, a few millimeters for the bulk. Because when you turn it inside out, you want a crisp edge. Well, you can turn it inside out with your hands because it's wide enough. So you slowly turn everything inside out like this. And pull, you open, and you push up in order to get things inside out. Pull again, you open, and you push up. Now that I've turned it inside out, I'm gonna just try to, like this little points, try to get them out so that they remain crisp. This is a tweezer that I'm using, one I use on a machine. Try to get it here because you don't want to snip any threads. So you really, oops. So this was turned inside out, and you take it to your ironing board and you want to iron it as flat as possible all the way down, and then I'll show you exactly what to do with this end. So you tuck the edges in like this because we're going to hand sew from here to here. So you take a needle and thread, it could be single thread too, not double threaded. And what you want to do is pick up a little bit of material from here and from here. from one side and the opposite side in order to do a sort of a whip stitch. So to sew the other open end, you have to simply tuck the edges, these raw edges, inside like this. And make sure they all go inside, even the top. So after you've tucked these raw edges, I pin them to help along. And what you're going to do is you're going to do a sort of a whip stitch where you take a needle and thread and you go in here, one part. You pick up one piece of fabric at one side, and on the opposite side you pick up another piece of fabric with the needle, because we're going to close this opening in the neatest way possible. And here you go again, you pick up another piece of fabric on one side, and you go and you do this on the other side too, the right opposite, just about maybe 2-3 millimeters from the edge, so you have as neat an edge as possible. And then you go again, and then you go about 2-3 millimeters from the edge, and you continue this way until you close this opening. So this is the finished product. The resulting length, 81 centimeters, because we've manipulated and we've cut, and so always try to calculate and to take into consideration that pieces are going to be cut off, etc. And these ties can be done with even 2 colors and different colors, different shapes, many different textures. So you really can have a lot of fun making these ties. So this is Eve signing off now. Until the next video, have a nice day.